Hi guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to a tutorial episode. So today I'm going to be doing a very basic cast on for anybody who needs to know how to cast on, a beginner knitter, etc. So I've got some chunky yarn or chunky DK. It's either a DK or a chunky, something in between. This happens to be acrylic, but you can use any yarn you want. I've got some thicker needles, so these are 4mm. You can use 5mm if you want. I've got them on a cord, so they're circular needles. My cord is quite long, about 120. These are 120, but you can get some with 40 or 60 or 80. I'd recommend about a 40 or a 60 if you're doing samples. Yep. So let's get on with it. So to start off with, you need a knot, and you can do a simple knot like so. Yeah. Or you can do a slip knot. So a slip knot is you double it over like so. Then you take one of the little loops and put it through the other. And there you have a slip knot. So you might want to slow that down. Shall I do it again? Maybe I will. Okay, for anyone who doesn't know how to do a slip knot. This is really handy for crochet actually, knowing how to do a slip knot. So you double over your yarn, pop in 2 fingers, hold it sort of here, and then loop it, and then take one of the loops and put it through the other. Voila, there we go. Right, so we're going to start with a slip knot, and then if you're left-handed, you'd be popping it on the on the right hand needle, and if you're right-handed, you're popping it on the left hand needle. So I'm right-handed, so I'm kind of doing the right-handed version, so it would obviously be in the reverse, and my wire is way too long, so I'm going to just try and hold it under my arm. Right, so we've got if you like, a stitch on here, and now we need to make the next stitch, and let's just zoom in a little tad. There we go. Right, so what you do is, so you've got your needle in your left hand or your right hand if you're right-handed. Oh, sorry, if you're left-handed. Left hand for right-handed, right hand for left-handed. Yes, I think that's correct. Okay, so you put your needle in the stitch from the left to the right, if you like, so that it goes into the back. So it's from the front into the back. Then you take your yarn round and use that finger to push it down. Keep it loose, otherwise it's quite difficult, and then pull it out. Whoop, pull that. Once you've pulled it out, get it onto that needle where the other stitch is. There. Now it's a little bit loose, so you want to pull this thread, tighten it up a little bit, but not too much. Right, so we've got 2 now. Right, we'll do that again. So it's from front to back, and this is a knit. This is how you knit with a knit stitch anyway. If you were to do it front to front, it would be that way, but we're not doing it that way. We're not casting on that way today. We're casting on this way. So it's from front to back. And then yarn round, push it down and pull it out. Oop. I nearly lost the other one. Okay, and then put it on the needle. So we'll do another one, front to back. So this yarn round. So as you can see, I'm holding the needles with these 2 fingers, and then the top to steady it with my thumb. So it's going through. Make sure you get the yarn in between both the needles, and then I'm still holding these 2 needles with this finger to steady it, and I'm pushing down with the other needle, pulling out, and then popping it on there. And try not to tighten it, because I think one mistake beginners make is it's too tight, and then you can't get your needle in the stitch. See, you can pull it a little bit to tighten it, but it needs to be loose enough to get your needle in. So we can do another one. So we're putting the needle in from front to back. We're holding the needles with these two fingers. We're holding this needle with this finger and the stitches. So you see, you can put your thumb, sorry, not finger, this is thumb. You can put your thumb over the stitch there, just hold it on. If you're worried it's gonna fall off. And then take your yarn between the needles and then put it on. There you go. And you just carry on for however many stitches you need to carry on for. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do another 5 stitches slowly. Yep, there we are, pulling it slightly. Another thing to do is to make sure that you've got enough of a line, because if your line is short you're going to tighten it, you know, your thread line if you like. If it's short it's going to become tight and you don't want it tight. So yeah, so we've popped our needle in from front to back. We're taking our yarn round like so, then we are pushing down, and with this hand, can't see this hand actually, but we are pulling it out with that, like so, and that's going on there. Let's do another one. How many have we got now? 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more. So needle in from front to back. Zoom out a bit now so you can see exactly what these needles are doing. So we've gone in front to back. We're taking our yarn round. We're pulling out. And we are popping on. And I'm steadying, see, this needle and with this finger now as well. So I mean, when you're learning, you'll be all over the place, and then you'll get into a rhythm of, oh yes, if I do it like this, it works. Well, I'm talking about myself when I do things, and that's my approach. So I've got 10 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now I'm actually going to knit this row. So we've cast on, and we're going to do some knitting. So let me just bring it back in again. So just as we did before, we're going to go into the stitch from the front to the back. I'm going to take a yarn round, just as we did with the cast on. We're going to pull it out, but instead of popping it on like so, we're going to take that stitch off that we just knit into. There we go. And you can pull here slightly, but don't pull too tight. So we're going to do it again. So front to back, yarn round, pull out and take off. So front to back, don't pull this too tight, yarn round the middle, then you kind of hold the yarn here. That's where you're getting your tension. You're holding it but not too tight. So as you can see, I'm holding it, not too tight though. Pull it out and then push that one off. Front to back, yarn round, just holding the yarn like this so it doesn't go anywhere. Push that needle, pull it out. So, and that's basically a knit stitch. So we've cast on and we've knit a couple of stitches. So we're just going to carry on knitting slowly. Needle in, front to back, yarn round, middle, holding it, pushing the needle, pulling out. There you go. Oh, let's just continue to the end. And when you're a beginner, don't worry if it's too loose, just try not to make it too tight. that's the last stitch. So the last stitch, we do the same thing, pop it in from the front to the back, yarn round, and then we take it off. And as you can see, we now have a lovely row of cast on. So that would be the stockinette part of it, but then if you were to use a knit stitch on the back, that would then become, it wouldn't be stockinette anymore. It would be, well, the front of it would be knit and purl. And I'll just show you. So this is the second row, and I'm knitting the second row. Right, so I'm doing exactly the same thing. So you see, that's what's called a purl bump, and that's from the row that we did before. This was the back. Now if we go to the front, we have a purl bump from the row we did just now, which was a knit row on that side, and then of course becomes a purl row on the other side. So if you knit continuously, knitting on this side and the other side, you get knits and purls, which is quite a nice look. And I think it's a garter stitch look, is it? So I'm going a little bit faster now so I can show you what this looks like if you continuously use a knit stitch when you're knitting. Right, oh, don't roll off. There you go. So that's, yeah, so sort of I think it's called a garter stitch. If you, garter stitch? Yeah, garter stitch. Anyway, it's the kind of stitch you use on a Guernsey sweater. This way you're just using the knit stitch normally. I mean, obviously they use purl stitches as well. We have just used a knit stitch here, and we've created a nice texture of knits and purls on both sides. Even though we haven't done knits and purls, we've just done knit stitch. But you end up with a kind of a knit and a purl piece of fabric, which is kind of nice. So for instance, if you wanted to knit a scarf, you could. And the other thing, when you knit just the knit stitch on both sides, it doesn't roll. So, you know, this edge will probably stay nice and straight. I mean, it might roll a tiny bit, but usually it doesn't have this curling up effect. Whereas if the whole thing was stockinette, then it would. So, yeah. So I'm not going to do a purl stitch here. I'll do a purl stitch maybe in the next episode of tutorial. In this tutorial we've just cast on and we've done a knit stitch. So we started off with a knit stitch, which could be stockinette if you use purl, but we didn't use purl. We just carried on with our knit stitch, and that's created a kind of a garter stitch look for the knitting. Hopefully that's right.